Hey guys, it's Sunday. Thank you all for joining me for another session of Supervision Sundays. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of finding the right qualified supervisor for you and some questions that you should consider when choosing your qualified supervisor, and also how to find one in the state of Florida. And so if you're interested in that, stay tuned. But first, if you are not already, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you are not following us on Instagram and Facebook, it is facebook.com/leadclinically. And on Instagram and Twitter, it is at Lead Clinically. I'll go ahead and put the information on the screen for you. Please go on over to your social media platforms and like, share, follow. So let's get into it. All right, so let's first talk about what is required in the state of Florida to initially become approved to provide qualified supervision to registered clinical social work interns, marriage and family therapist interns, or licensed mental health counselor interns. So the first thing you'll need if you are seeking to be approved to provide supervision to a social worker, what you need is 4 years of experience. 2 years can be post-master's, but the other 2 years do have to be post you yourself becoming a licensed clinical social worker. Now, for licensed clinical social worker interns, you have to be a social worker in order to provide the clinical social work supervision, right? For marriage and family therapists and mental health counselors, if you're seeking that qualified supervisor status, you have to have 5 years of experience. 2 years post-masters can be counted, but the other 3 years have to be post you have yourself being a licensed marriage and family therapist or a licensed a licensed mental health counselor. The additional requirement is that you have taken the qualified supervisor training. That is a 16-hour course. So you can get that from a number of approved providers across the state of Florida. And so if you are not living in Florida and you're watching this video, first of all, thank you for checking us out. Please get with your licensing board to see what those initial requirements are. I started off by talking about what is required for someone to initially become a qualified supervisor. So I want you all to know that this is the reason why you have to actually dig a little deeper into the individual you're seeking supervision from, right? Because the qualifications are really that you have experience yourself as a licensed individual and have experience post-grad school, which is really not hard to do, right? And then once you complete that continuing education course, not hard to do, right? So the first tip that I have for you all in order to choose the qualified supervisor that'll work best for you is that you look at their resume or you ask them about their experience. If you yourself are seeking to go into a field where you're working with children, you want to see that your supervisor has experience similar to that or has some experience in working with children. The reason why I say that is because your qualified supervisor is the individual that helps you to learn to increase your skills when it comes to note-taking, increase your skills when it comes to relevant trainings. So if I'm going into the field and my desire is to work with children, I want a qualified supervisor who may have some training and interventions that are effective with children and can help guide me in choosing what interventions I may want to get certified in order to improve my value as a clinical social worker, as a licensed marriage and family therapist, whatever that may be for me in the field, right? So you want to consider that when you are going towards the idea of becoming a licensed clinician, that you are going to be establishing yourself as a brand and as a leader in providing some type of clinical intervention. And so when you're looking for a qualified supervisor, you want their experience to hopefully match as close as possible to what it is that you want to do in the field. If you're looking to work with adults who have a lot of trauma and you want to become certified in EMDR or biofeedback, you may want to look for a supervisor who has that type of experience or training. It's very important. They don't have to have exactly that, but you want to get someone who has that type of experience. The second thing that I think is very important is that your supervisor, when you talk with them, that you feel like it's a good match, right? So oftentimes people think of supervision as a checkbox in order to get licensed because, hey, once you get licensed, you're very, very valuable to agencies because they can build insurance with you, right? And so they pay more. And so that's a great goal. But what you're really looking for with your supervisor is someone who not only challenges you, but has an ability to build rapport with you and someone you can learn from. Now, what I often suggest, and this is my second tip to you all, is that you do a consultation with the individual. Have a brief meeting, talk with them, see if it's someone that is able to meet your needs. You want to see if there's someone, if you need supervision after 8 o'clock, you want to get with someone who's able to provide that. If you need supervision via telehealth right now, if you need someone with flexible hours on the weekend, you want to see that individual's capacity to provide supervision to you in flexible terms. Now, one of the things that's very important, and I've talked about this before, is that qualified supervisors in the state of Florida are limited to 25 interns. So the same way that you are getting with them and you're doing a consultation, they're also getting with you to see if you're truly vested in the process of supervision. And so knowing that, you want to make sure that that individual is a good fit for you, and that individual should be making sure that you are a good fit for them, as opposed to getting licensure supervision from someone who is really just looking at it as a business. One of the things that I think is important for me when I'm looking at accepting an intern is that they feel that they can learn from me, but also that I'm able to provide feedback to them in a way that is going to grow them. My thing that I say to my interns all the time is I want you guys to be great. I want to support you in your goals, and I want to know what your goals are so that I can cater my services to you. And it's something that I'm actually passionate about. As you guys know, I do provide qualified supervision. I do continuing education courses. I teach. And so I'm very passionate about that training process, that learning process. And I feel like I'm a lifelong learner. So if we know that about our supervisor, we want to make sure that, hey, what is the interchangeability between what I can learn from you, but also your supervisor should be willing to learn from you as well. So don't be afraid to teach them something. I love when my interns teach me things. And it's really just exciting. My interns bring resources to the field. They bring resources to the session. And so it's super, super important, right? Now, the third thing that is very important is exam prep. A lot of times what we know is that not all supervisors are going to have experience with prepping for the exam, and that's okay, right? But you want to seek out a supervisor who's willing to support you in prepping for that, whether that be catering sessions to talking about exam prep, doing questions related to the exam. I know that we cannot get the exam questions because that is protected information, but your supervisor does have the ability to do some research, to get some study guide materials, and to talk with you about what barriers you may be having to maybe scheduling the exam, keeping up with what you need to do. If you come up with a study plan, your supervisor is holding you accountable. Your supervisor is connecting you with other individuals or resources to prep for the exam. And that's really, really important for the process because we know that you can go through supervision, but if you don't pass the exam, you're not going to get licensed until you do. And I share in my own story. I didn't pass the exam the first time. I missed it by 2 points. I was so heartbroken. I went to the car, called my dad, and I'm crying. And he's like, "You're going to get it. You're going to get it." But what I really, really loved about my supervisor at the time is that we were in group soup, and what he would do for me is that he would say, "Okay, well, let's kind of process your feelings around not having passed the exam the first time, but let's not stay there, and make sure that you're engaging in different study techniques in order to support yourself." And so it's very, very important that you kind of consider these things. Don't just choose a supervisor because you want to get licensed. I know that it's hard to not do that, but you really, really want to put some thought into who it is that you choose to provide clinical supervision to you. If you don't, what you do is you find yourself kind of like, well, I'm on the launching pad, I'm about to get licensed, and now I'm licensed, but I don't feel comfortable either diagnosing or creating treatment plans or even providing interventions. And so your clinical supervisor should be the individual that helps you through that. We are considered gatekeepers. So if you're not ready, your clinical supervisor should tell you, hey, I'm not sure if you're ready. And you all can come up with a plan for that. And that can be hard to hear, right? That, hey, as your clinical supervisor, I don't feel you're ready. And so this shouldn't be news to you. You and your supervisor should be talking about these things. You should be talking about your fears of providing diagnoses, your thoughts around providing diagnoses, your fears about creating treatment plans or doing clinical interventions. You should not be on the launch pad about to get licensed next week and you're not feeling ready to do any of the things that are vital to what we do in our profession. So hopefully this has been beneficial to you all, hopefully thought-provoking. Let's keep the conversation going down in the comments. If you like the video, please hit the like. As I mentioned earlier, if you are not already, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all your social media platforms at Lead Clinically. And thank you all so much. I'm Dr. Brittany, and until next time, please stay safe. I know that outside has opened up a little bit, but we know that the coronavirus cases are going up. So if you're not out wearing your mask and following what the guidelines are, staying 6 feet apart, please do so. Encourage your clients to do so. Model that good behavior for them. And I will see you guys next time.